Hey there everyone, my name is Christopher from the Red Rising Group, and today I'm going to bring you guys another DanMachi video on the channel. And this time, we're going to be covering the third season of the anime. Now, I am very certain that I can speak for everyone by saying that this is probably the best season by far. Not only has the graphics improved ever so slightly, but they also kept all the best moments from the light novel this season, both heartwarming and blood pumping alike. And it has definitely got me excited for when we'll get the fourth season. But that will be for another day. Now, despite all my praise for this season, I will also admit that I was slightly disappointed that the anime decided to skip certain portions of the light novel that would have definitely made the season much better than it already was. And it all goes back to season 2 of the anime. Due to them skipping out many parts from volume 8 of the light novel, we didn't get a chance to see certain things that would have made the season much better than it already is, like I mentioned before. That is why in today's video we are going to be discussing about those skipped content and how it would have affected the anime. Anyways, if you guys have not watched season 3 yet, then I highly suggest you to click off the video right now, otherwise be prepared to be spoiled. Well, with that all said and done, let's just get on with the video. First off, we are going to be starting with the ending of episode 8, Belcranel the Fool. Now, in this episode marks the conclusion of volume 10 of the light novel, whereby Wien escapes into the town with her mind completely warped because of Dix, the Loki Familia attempting to kill her, and of course, Belcranel stopping them, painting himself as an enemy to the whole of Horario for saving her, a monster. And at the end of that episode, we see Bell return back to the surface after the emotional roller coaster of Wien's death and later resurrection. And as he got back up, he bumped into Aina, who asked him if everything that he did was because of a selfish reason, to which of course he decides to lie, resulting in the emotional slap to the face. Now, the reason I'm bringing this particular scene up is because it could have been made much more emotional had they decided to add volume 8 to the anime. And in volume 8, there was a chapter dedicated to Aina, and it touched a bit more on her popularity as she was confessed to by two males, Dormo, a dwarf, and Luvis, an elf, both of which who could appear later on in season 4 if the anime decides to, but that will be for another day. However, the main highlight of this chapter was that Aina was getting stalked by someone, and because of this, she decides to consult Belle, who offered to be her bodyguard until they found out the culprit. Because of this, Belle would then pick her up every day at the guild and walk her back home. And this interaction obviously starts to make her realize her feelings of love for Belle, and thus would make the scene in the anime much more emotional than it already was. It truly is a shame. Next up, we are going to be covering Seer's chapter in volume 8. And the reason I haven't addressed the anime scene yet is mainly because it's something they completely left out entirely. Anyways, during this chapter, the members of the Hostess of Fertility decides to confide Belle into finding out what Seer does on her day off, because she normally disappears without anyone knowing. Which then leads to him following her into a part of Daedalus Street One in particular had an orphanage in them. And because of this, Belle was able to befriend the children in the orphanage, pretty easily I might add, and he was especially closest with three particular children, Rie, Rux, and Fina. Later in that chapter, the three brought Belle to a location where they claimed they heard a strange noise come from within, and since he was an adventurer, they felt that he could help them out. And upon accepting it, Belle, Cyr, and the three children headed to the location, and it somehow turns out to be a sort of cave-like area with strange markings on them. That was when a monster appeared and attacked the group, and despite Belle's valiant attempts, he was unable to kill the monster, and Allen of the Freya Familia rescued him and killed the monster. Now, let's fast forward to volume 11, or episode 9 in the anime. And it was at this point where Belle was already feeling depressed about being treated as such an outcast by the people above. And let's just say things got a whole lot worse for him when he passed by the children from the orphanage. And it had been a reunion anything but satisfactory for the little rookie, as they all stared at him in fear, and Rai even called him to be a traitor for failing to kill a monster, but protect it instead. He then bumps into Cyr, just like how it all took place in the anime. So there's that. Now, it is one thing for people you don't really know to condemn you, but what if it's someone you knew and you hold a close relationship with them as well? Basically, this would make Belle even more depressed than he already was, and I feel like it had been much better if they decided to add it in, just to show how depressed he really was and how much better it would be to know when you watch him rise up to meet his goals of saving the Xenos. But I'm still not done yet too. Now, remember the child Wien saved in episode 11? Well, in the light novel, it was actually Rux, the elf, who was saved by her, and this would turn out to have an effect only later on in the series. Now, what about the entranceway that Wien and the other Xenos had to go in order to escape in the anime? Well, it all comes full circle, since in the light novel, it was revealed that the entranceway was the exact one where Belle, Cyr, and the three children fought the monster in. Isn't that crazy? Now, there were also additional content that was skipped that probably wouldn't have made such a big impact to the show, but I'll address them regardless. First off, instead of cutting the interaction between Hestia and Loki, in the light novel, Hestia actually brings up the topic of the Xenos to her, asking if the two could ever live together in harmony. To which Loki scoffs, of course, telling her that Finn would never accept such a thing since it would risk his standing and it would affect his goal of regaining the identity of the Palum. And speaking of Finn, he approaches Belle about the Gnosis, to which of course Hermes comes in to the rescue and asks Belle what he intends to do next. And to me, this would have been much better because it's one thing hearing from an outside perspective, but hearing it from the actual person itself would have made such a bigger effect on someone. Next up is a scene that I actually wanted to see, and it involves the Mia Familia, or Cassandra to be exact. Now, as we know from episode 9 and from the light novel, the Xenos were all separated in the surface and needed to regroup back in the dungeon. And in the light novel, we learn about the whereabouts of Aruru, the Almiraj, and Helga, the werewolf. And apparently, Cassandra was taking care of both of them because she had a vision saying that she needed them to ensure her safety from being swallowed by a jet black wave. which of course in this case was Asteria's. Thank goodness she had that lucky rabbit charm she was talking about. And the final thing they could have added was Ray falling in love with Belle. Once again, this playboy rabbit managed to get someone to join his harem, and it really doesn't add much difference to the anime, but like I said before, I just wanted to add it in regardless. And that is going to be all for this video. Now, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel yet, then please be sure to do so, because if you enjoyed this video, I guarantee that you'll like the others that are on the channel as well. Also, be sure to like the video for more DanMachi content and comment down below your favorite moment from Season 3. Anyways, with that all said and done, it's time to be ending off the video, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye guys!